You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Good evening. My name is Peter Bassman. I'm chairman of the Branford Inland Wetland Commission. I'll now open the commission's regular monthly meeting of 9/11/2025. It is now 7:03. The meeting will be conducted as a virtual meeting in accordance with Public Act 22-3. It will be using the Zoom software platform. Also, we abide by the regulations of the inland wetland regulations in the town of Branford. Documents for this evening are available at Town Hall or on the agency's webpage. The final agenda for this evening was filed on Tuesday, September 9th, and is also posted on the town website. As this is September 11th, I wish to recognize the anniversary of the tragedies 24 years ago in New York City, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. For those at this meeting who were personally affected by the events of 9/11, I apologize for having the meeting this evening. I trust all will remember the sacrifices made by those who put themselves in harm's way, and we all hold dear the memory of those innocent lives who perished in this horrific attack. Does the staff have any changes to the agenda as presented?
No changes.
Branford Community Television will be recording and broadcasting tonight's meeting. We're thankful for the time and effort that they provide regarding this service to the community at large. For those speaking this evening, please be conscious of positioning your face in the screen so that everything is visible as part of that recording. Also, to ensure a complete and accurate record of the discussions, each time a statement or comment is made during tonight's meeting, speaking party must announce his or her name prior to articulating any comment. This applies to any party wishing to participate. Those wishing to speak may use the raise your hand feature as part of the Zoom application. Also, once the meeting has begun, you can mute your microphone. That helps avoid any feedback. Before we take our customary roll call, I'd like to welcome to this commission our newest commissioner, Federico Sotomayor. If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Sotomayor, would you mind introducing yourself? Maybe give us a little background. The floor is yours. Are you muted?
You're not muted. Oh, I wasn't muted, but I don't think his mic was working.
Oh, we don't hear you, sir. You got to turn your microphone volume up, maybe?
Looks like he's working on.
All right, how about now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I don't. Very good.
All right, I'm sorry about that. My name is Federico. I'm 38 years old. I live in the Short Beach neighborhood here of Branford. I grew up originally in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I moved down here to Southern Connecticut about 5 years ago to work as an engineer for the United Illuminating Company, the local electric company. And I've been living in Branford for about 4 years now with my family. I live here with my wife and our 3 children. I love Branford, and I wanted to get involved with the local community. And I have a background in project management, engineering, and environmental science, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Peter.
All righty. When I announce your name regarding the commission, please indicate present. Commissioner Mirsky.
Present.
Commissioner Sotomayor. Now,
Present.
okay. Am I pronouncing the last name correctly?
Yes, Sotomayor.
Mayor. Okay. Commissioner Papatonis? You're muted, Commissioner.
Melissa indicated she was having a connection issue and was working on relocating. Oh,
Commissioner Papantone is present. I'm just resetting up in another room.
Okay, thank you. Jamie Frederick, Inland Wetland Director and Enforcement Officer,
present.
and Katie Blanchett, Inland Wetland Associate.
Present.
All right, 4 commissioners are present. Therefore, all commissioners are seated. We have a quorum. They're able to vote on any of the matters before us this evening. But I must ask before we proceed, is there any matter on the agenda this evening that a commissioner feels they must recuse themselves from? Silence is golden. We'll go to the agenda. First up, the minutes of approval, August 14th, 2025, which was a regular meeting minutes. Again, those minutes are part of the information that's online as well as mailed to the commissioners. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th from any commissioner?
This is Commissioner Mirsky. I actually believe I have to abstain because I wasn't present for the meeting, so I apologize. I believe Melissa, I don't know if Melissa was present or not.
Yeah, honestly, by Robert's rules, you can
Okay,
still vote.
No,
You
I just
don't
want to
have
check because I've reviewed them, Commissioner Basserman. I just wanted to indicate that I wasn't physically present and just to verify.
You still want to make that motion?
All right, yes, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes then.
Do we have a second? I'll second the minutes of August 14th. Any further discussion? Any corrections? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any, go ahead. Any abstentions? All right. Applications for review, item 4. As noted, these were received before the August 28th scheduled meeting, but we did not have a meeting, in which case they're on the agenda for this evening. First up, BRIW 250801, 25 Blackstone Avenue, Mirror Lake, a removal of vegetation and the application of an aquatic pesticide. This is a deep permit, and we have it before this commission as an opportunity for comment. I'll turn it over at this time to Jamie to bring us up to speed on this particular application.
Sure. Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So this is a combination of a permit to the commission, the agency, and it includes an application submitted to DEEP for the aquatic pesticide application. It is the commission's practice to review for state requirements to review those aquatic herbicide applications to be able to provide comment in case any of the commissioners have insight regarding the location or such. The application before the commission also kind of addresses some topics that are adjacent to the aquatic pesticide application. So I think this is a little bit of a unique application, and the commission should consider whether any or all of the activities fall within the commission's jurisdiction, or if they're something that would be more of a referral, like the DEEP permit, essentially. So the DEEP permit wouldn't fall within the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses permit, should you move forward with issuing a permit in relation to the activities. So I'll screen share and then I'll hand it over to the representative that submitted the application to go into a little bit more detail. Basically, the application includes that aquatic pesticide application to DEEP, hand tool removal of invasive brush and cattails near water's edge, removal of brush and plants near spillway on Blackstone Ave to maintain the function of that spillway, and possible herbicide application to cattails and knotweed on south side of pond if approved by DEEP. And for those that are not familiar, on the corner of Blackstone Ave and Pine Orchard Road, this is the subject pond in question. And I think at that point, unless commissioners have any introductory questions, I'll hand it over to Young's Pond Commission to provide any supplemental information you think might be helpful for the commission's consideration.
This is Commissioner Bassman. I had one question, Jamie. The way the application was worded in that text, are the cattails? Can you throw up that that language? Yeah, it says invasive brush and cattails. Do we consider cattails invasive, or is that something that is purposeful as to separate the word invasive from cattails?
Cattails are not on the Connecticut invasive plant list. So they would not be considered an invasive plant in the state of Connecticut.
Do they serve a purpose that we would want to retain or not?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question in regards to this pond. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Commissioner. This is Jeff Holtz. I'm the chairman of the commission. The area where they're in, they're not providing a true buffer, and they also tend to continue to, in the literature and other things, they started about 3 or 4 years ago. We had a small patch of them, and now it's probably, so originally it was probably about a 3 by 3 area, and now it's about 3 feet by 20 feet. It's in the, on the map that Jamie showed, it's in the bottom right-hand corner. So it's in the southeast corner of the pond area right there. And then we also, yep, there you go. And we also have behind that, they're also contributing to infill in that whole area behind it that eventually we hope to do some clearing of also, which is impeding the flow of water from the spillway. There's two problems. One is the continued growth. There is some knotweed in with them, and if you see on the left-hand side, around behind them, there's knotweed that we can't get to without at least traversing through the cattails, because everything else is kind of marshy. The homeowner has brought it to my attention where this lawn is here. They're not considered invasive, but they're considered somewhat aggressive. And
This is Commissioner Basserman, are they a sanctuary for creatures, or not so much?
somewhat, if you look, we have the whole backside of the pond, which has brush and marshland plants, and along the whole front, she's established a buffer here for the geese and the rabbits, etc. There's a small fence that has ports for rodents and smaller animals to get through it, but she put up this small fence to keep the geese. But we don't get a lot of geese in that pond anyway. I don't know if it's too small. We do get some ducks, and there certainly is a population of the frogs and everything else, but I haven't seen a lot of that stuff around the cattails when I've been down there. They tend to more hang out on that shoreline to the right in the photograph.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And then the spillway, you can see the spillway where the hand is, that's behind it. Right now it's completely inaccessible on all four sides of it for maintenance or inspection. So we need to clear that up. You can also see this, I don't know when I took this picture, but this might have been this fall. If you look straight ahead, we got 1, 2 dead trees there. We have another dead tree to the left, which I guess technically, and you can see the one up at the end of the driveway on the left, technically those all fall within the scope of either maintenance or, regulated activity for public works to address those.
Are you saying that you're looking to have those trees removed?
Well, we don't want them to fall in the pond, and right now the one on the street is probably going to get removed by the utility. But the other two on the back side, we would at least trim down so that we're not getting the crap falling in the spillway and possibly damaging it.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Jamie, you mentioned that there was some uniqueness to this particular permit. Where does that raise your eyebrows in terms of its uniqueness?
Yeah, so that just for everyone's knowledge, this is a Google Street View image. It's kind of odd because it's not really from the street, but it's from June of this year. So I'm going to flip over to my memo where I kind of outlined the various activities. So I think the aquatic pesticide application would be something omitted from the regulated activity the commission's reviewing based on past practice. I think the removal of invasive brush would be as of right based on past practice. The management of cattails and removal of brush and plants near the spillway, I think, are activities the commission would probably want to keep within the purview of this permit, and perhaps move forward with reviewing those and issuing a permit for those activities if you felt it was appropriate to do so, and or requesting additional information to process that request. Because as we've established, the cattails are not invasive. I do know they can be considered aggressive, much like poison ivy, which is also native, and some other plants. And then the removal of the brush and plants near the spillway, I think, is good from a maintenance standpoint. But given the fact that at this point it's kind of deferred maintenance, it would be consistent with the commission's past practice to take a permit and essentially have a final inspection to make sure that the work was within the scope of what was reviewed.
This is Commissioner Bassman, and as noted, I guess if it was for the same reason that was mentioned, the spillway, the removal of the trees would fall under the trimming of the trees would fall under that permit as well?
I would agree.
This is Commissioner Mirsky. Just an additional question. Would the consideration of the amount of removal also be something we have to consider within the application, or we're just wanting clarification of whatever amount is being recommended?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So you mean essentially like the width of vegetation relative to the spillway, kind of?
That kind of thing. I'm just saying in requesting further information through an application, is that what I'm suggesting about amount? Is that a consideration we would have to evaluate as a commission?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I certainly think that makes sense in the sense of, making sure it's documented what is expected for that final inspection.
Hi, this is Jeff Holtz. I'd also like to keep in mind that it's a park, and there's a recreational area, picnic area, whatever you want to call it, in the area behind the hand. And right now, if I stand over there, I can't see the pond. So the visual enjoyment of the park has been neglected, for lack of a better word, and all along the roadway, so that the only place I can enjoy the view of the pond is if I stand on Pine Orchard Road and look over Miss Spindler's lawn right now. So there's no vistas, as they used to be called, I believe. So there's a visual impact of the lack of maintenance, for lack of a better word, that also should be considered, I believe.
So it's Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So are you looking to remove vegetation beyond invasives and beyond the spillway so that you can create views? You're unmuted.
You can't see my mouse, but basically the spillway is 6 feet to the right of the hand, roughly 8 feet maybe. So that there will certainly be we'd like to remove from the hand roughly to the right, to the first tree that you see, the tallest tree, that will give a visual opening and clear the spillway area.
So about how wide of an area are you looking at? Are you
10 to
looking
12 feet, probably.
10 to 12 feet centered on the spillway?
Yeah, we could do that. Sorry, Siri's acting. Somewhere.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Just for clarification, you have or about to file the permit to deep?
The permit for the
pesticide.
we have an existing permit that we are trying to reauthorize before the end of the season this year for treatment of the lake for invasive weeds, not milfoil and all kinds of other stuff, which previously we were told was not regulated through inland wetlands because it was a deep matter.
Right.
It was just a submission to Jamie, and Jamie just sends us a letter, or whoever at the time. I think it's been Jamie all 3 years. So it was basically an amendment to that permit, and we have not heard back from them. The herbicide for the woody plants, there's 2 different versions. We're choosing the less toxic and safer version. Would be applied if approved by the DEEP in the fall. They recommend trimming them first, which is the regulated activity, and then applying the pesticide.
This is Commissioner Badger. Jamie, can you put up the letter you had up previously showing the activities? I think there were 4 of them. Yeah, or with the tree it would be 5, but I guess the only thing, see if I'm weaving my way around this correctly. I guess the thing that we all agree is probably deep controlled is number 1, but everything else, including the latest discussion, which is the clearing up of the vegetation around the spillway and the trimming of the trees, etc., all of that would seem to be a regulated activity.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent, I believe that would be consistent with past practice, yes. So essentially the first and the last bullet points would be reviewed through DEEP, and the second and third bullet points with the expansion of the third bullet point to be a 10 to 12 foot wide area centered on the spillway and management of dead trees to the point that they'll not impact the spillway and pond would be the regulated activities. And I'll just step back and say the invasive brush removal, if it's just cutting, that would probably be as of right. Which I believe you're just looking to mechanically cut the vegetation, right? You're not looking to go in and excavate roots.
Not at all. No. It's within the purview of Parks and Public Works, but I imagine either it'll just be the brush hog on the arm that'll be used to, remove most of the brush, and then we'll put some type of mulch or something down from Public Works to maintain the soil stability, or we'll hand cut it all and just chip it and put it into the transfer station.
Does any of the commissioners have issue with separating out the deep activities from the application for the items that were mentioned? Okay, so hearing none, I guess we would expect, and I guess if you're going to do this in the fall, a relatively quick application for the items that we discussed this evening that would be regulated.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So there is a permit submitted for these items. That's so there is actively a permit before the commission for review. I didn't come up with conditions for recommendation because I wasn't really sure the direction that the commission was going to go in. So there's two options. One, we can try and work on drafting up conditions based on the discussion this evening, or two, I can draft something up for review at the next meeting. And if the commission thinks that it would be beneficial to have something marked up on a site plan rather than just the verbal acknowledgement of 10 to 12 feet centered on the spillway, we could ask for a slightly more improved plan showing the actual areas of the pond where activity is proposed.
This is Commissioner Bassman. I think given some of the discussion this evening in terms of trimming, how the trees are going to be trimmed, there was a discussion about mulch being added. How do we make sure that the mulch doesn't move in an area where it shouldn't? I would lean toward, I guess, having a site plan that indicates that with the activities detailed such that the commission can review it at the next meeting and hopefully move this thing along so that they can get the work done quickly this season. Any commissioner disagree with that?
This is Commissioner Mursky. I actually agree with your assessment.
Can we split the activity into the cattail removal subject to the deep and then the remaining items so that
I think Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I think we can continue the review of the application. But if the commission's comfortable, then you can make a determination that the activities permitted by deep permits, the deep aquatic pesticide permit application process, falls under the purview of deep. And if you wanted to, you could say that the invasive. Are you planning on doing the knotweed at a different time than you'd be doing the other brush removal, or is it really just the deep aquatic pesticide permit that you're concerned with at this moment?
There is some knotweed in that area, but most of the knotweed is on the other side over here, in the lower left corner of the lake, where that off the spillway area. There is some mixed in with the cattails also. So the cattail portion we would probably do all at once while we're in waders and a dry suit, trimming them and etc. And then we can certainly postpone the other part until the conditions or letter of scope is put together.
So Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent, I think it's very easy for the commission to make a determination. If somebody wants to put forth a motion, I think that would be the appropriate way to do it. Regarding the deep jurisdiction over aquatic pesticide applications, I don't know if you want to extend it to the invasive species management to be limited to cutting only, just as a point of clarification.
Does Commissioner Bassett, when you say cutting, does that mean cutting and not removal, just cutting, or cutting and removal?
Cutting and removal would, yeah. The knotweed should be removed and or mulched finally, right, so that it doesn't resprout, because it can resprout from the nodules. I mean, no ground disturbance. So you could say removal of knotweed without ground disturbance. Might be a clearer way of putting it.
I'll give it a shot. This is Commissioner Bassman. I make a motion that regarding DRIW 250801, 25 Blackstone Avenue, the removal of the vegetation, knotweed, without ground disturbance, and the application as approved by DEEP for the application of an aquatic pesticide move forward, and that the remaining activities are subject to a permit approval from the Branford Inland Wetland Commission. Is there a second?
Commissioner Papantonis, second.
Is there anything that I missed in that motion, Jamie?
I think that works.
Okay. I guess this is a vote. I'll take a vote. Commissioner Papatonis?
Commissioner Papantonis, aye.
Commissioner Federico?
This is Commissioner Sotomayor. I approve.
Sorry about that. Let's see, Commissioner Mirsky?
Shimersky, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay.
All right. So before we move on, just to clarify, those items have been determined to okay to move forward, and the pending application for the activities subject to the commission's jurisdiction will be continued to the September 25th meeting.
Right.
Thank you.
Inland Wetland Associate Katie Blanchett. Commissioner Papantonis, was that a yes? You kind of cut out.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it was. I
Thank
said.
you.
Having
Next up.
computer issues tonight.
PRIW 250803, 25 blocks in Lake Mirror Lake, introduction of carp into the lake to control the invasive weeds. Also a deep permit with the opportunity to comment.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So this is another kind of unique one. Again, subject to the jurisdiction of deep. I don't think the commission's going to want to take jurisdiction over the introduction of carp to the pond. You don't take jurisdiction over stocking of, recreational fish for fishing purposes. The one thing that I did want to bring to the commission's attention is that in stocking a water body with carp to manage vegetation, that water body does have to be isolated so that the carp can't escape and eat vegetation in places where they're not meant to be eating vegetation, because they're not selective in what they eat. So I was reviewing some materials regarding the use of carp for vegetation management, and I don't know if in this case any sort of structure will be required to restrict passage of carp from the pond. I think that might be something the commission would want to review. I don't know if at this time the applicant knows whether or not that would be a requirement, or if that's something that would come up during the deep review process. But if that is something the commission's interested in reviewing, I think that it should be made clear to the applicant at this time that he may have to come back to the commission for that. I don't know if anyone had a chance to review the materials in the Dropbox for this before the meeting. If anyone has any questions or wants me to go into more detail on anything, or if you want to hear from the applicant directly on the matter.
Before this, Commissioner Bass, before you leave it, Jamie, how do we have jurisdiction with escaping carp?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I don't think we have a jurisdiction with escaping carp. I think we might have jurisdiction over the installation.
Oh, of the structure. Okay.
Excuse me, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
This is
I just-
sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
I can explain a couple things. I just emailed Jamie a copy of a picture of the grading that currently exists over our spillway, which meets the DEP regulations. They have a whole set of regulations which makes all kinds of recommendations. The only thing that we might consider would be taking the grate and having it galvanized for longevity. But right now it's been there for 20 years, and I walk on it every once in a while, and it seems to be more than sufficient. Downstream, there is another pond, and he also has a grate over his culvert to keep snapping turtles from coming in and getting his ducks. And then downstream from there is a very shallow stream that goes directly to Long Island Sound, and these fish cannot live in salt water.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Do the carp have to be a certain size?
They're triploid carp, and they come 8 to 12 inches, and they can grow to be up to 24 inches.
Yeah.
and they're sterile, so they can't reproduce.
Right.
And the DEP recommendation was up to 36 based on the size of the pond. We were looking to do 15 to 20 as an introduction.
And this Commissioner Basserman, is the distance between the grate rails sufficient to keep the carp in the pond? Has that been determined that the grate will do that?
According to the DEP, it is. I did measure it at one time.
This is Commissioner Bursky. Just a follow-up question. When you looked at the grates and you said you were near them and you measured them, there's no indication that the grates are loose in any way or would move. They're stable.
It can be lifted up by 2 people.
Yeah.
It's you can't see it all in the picture, but it's about 6 or 7 feet wide by 24 inches deep or more, maybe 36. That's a video. I apologize. I have a photograph of it also, but.
This is Commissioner Mursky. I understand that. That does technically answer my question. What I was really seeking, maybe it's the way I didn't ask the question correctly. I'm trying to ensure that the grates are not so loose that if fish were moving around, it's not so wobbly that if a fish grew to a size that it could try to get under it or move the grate, it doesn't sound like that's even relevant in what I was asking. You're saying you need 2 people. Yeah.
The grate is recessed. If you see it, it's actually at the bottom. You can see the spillway blocks are 24 inches wide or so, and that's shallow. That might get to 2 or 3 inches. And then at the bottom right, you'll see it's actually set into the stonework. So the stonework is set down 1.5 inches or 2 inches down so that the grate rests on the stone, and then that continues backwards to the back of the spillway.
Okay. No, I appreciate that explanation. That helps. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So this is also a pending application before the commission. If the commission determines that there's no jurisdiction, again, you'd make that determination. And then I would just suggest that since if all the activities outside of the commission's jurisdiction, I'd request the applicant withdraw the application since there's nothing to act. And of course, if there needs to be a modification to that structure at any point, it might be a conversation at that time beyond replacing the material of the grate that I don't see having any significant impact.
This is Commissioner Basserman. You indicated our jurisdiction essentially was associated with the grate. The grate looks like it's in decent shape for especially how many years it's been in there. If it's not looking to be replaced, then we don't have to worry about the manner of installation and all that other kind of stuff. I think I'm okay with having the application withdrawn. Anybody feel differently?
No, this is Commissioner Mursky. I agree with you, Commissioner Basserman. We don't have to have. Do we have to take a vote on a withdrawal or no?
No, I think there could be a general consensus here, and then I'll have that to follow up with the applicant.
Any commissioner feel differently? Sounds like we have general consensus, Jamie. Is that a separate? I assume that's a separate D permit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good luck with getting those permits.
Thank you very much. That's we're hoping that reduces our dependence on chemicals in the long run.
Right. I had a pond and filed an application with DEEP in April, and we got it 2 weeks ago. So.
I will just say that they're very pedantic.
You choose your words carefully. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I'm sure they're thorough.
Yeah. Okay, next up. BRIW 250804, 4581 Short Rocks Road. This is the Branford Supply Ponds. New trail along the roadway for pedestrian safety. It was in the Dropbox. What's the highlight here, Jamie?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So this application is very similar to an application the commission had within the past year regarding a trail along that kind of follows the roadway but provides an alternative pedestrian option. But on the other side of the pond, we do have the chairman from Parks and Open Space, here to overview the application. And I'll just share an aerial image real quick to kind of put it in perspective. Now I'm drawing a blank on the road. Short Rocks Road, coming in from the east side to Supply Ponds. The fish ladder access up to kind of where the sign entering into the main portion of the park, I believe, is where they're looking to put the trail. So I guess I will hand it over to Richard Shanahan to provide additional information.
Okay, if you could go to the scroll up a little bit to get to that map. No, the other way.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is probably the most detailed I could provide. But as Jamie said, right now there's two, well, let me back up a little bit. There used to be a trail along this route years ago. I have no idea how long ago it was established. But over the years, with various storms and lack of use and what have you, it became pretty much all overgrown. We're trying to reclaim it, parts where it's away from the road. From the parking area, it's like 85 feet. It's in the woods. There's a definite trail there. Then there's the other section about 600 feet long. And again, that's well away from the road. The two sections that we're looking at is, the first one is 230 feet. It's right along the road. And again, I don't know, did the photographs come along with this, Jamie?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the first section here, basically the second and the third photographs just show you what it's like now. So people are obviously forced to walk along the roadway. This section isn't too bad because it's fairly straight. But again, if people are walking along and people are, as they leave the supply ponds, they tend to pick up speed along here. And if you're walking with a dog or what have you, you truly are in the roadway. And we're just trying to establish a trail basically adjacent to the road, but to get rid of all those plants, most of which are invasives, mugwort, autumn olive, the usual culprits. But we do want to put some gravel down to make it a definite trail. And again, just to get people off the road. So after this, it goes back into the woods. And then if you scroll down again, this is the second section. So where I said start of the gravel path, that's where it's going into the supply ponds. And again, the next three photos just show where it really is just trying to get people off the roadway. The bottom two, you can really see where there is because of the curve, it's a major sightline problem. And as people leave the supply ponds, the last speed hump, if you will, is just on the other side of that tree. So this is where people start to pick up speed. Now, where Jamie, where you had that hand, that is the tree that right now, I think out of this entire project, this may be the more, I'm going to say difficult, but problematic. This is a half-dead tree. It's mostly covered with vines. At some point, it's going to die anyway and come down. But part of the project is to remove that tree. And
This Commissioner Bassler, is that on the left or the right, Mr. Shanahan? I can't tell with the picture.
It's
that's
on the pond side.
On the far side? Okay.
On the pond side.
right.
Oh, okay, pond side.
Yeah, and it's fairly narrow there. So that's where, definitely the tree would have to come down if this is through. Because right now people are walking on the road and it is a blind spot. And then the picture just to the right of that, where it's going into the pond, supply ponds proper. Again, it's mostly weeds, just trying to get people off the roadway. And you can barely see, it's in the shadows, but that's the last speed hump. So the gravel path would go up to that speed hump. And then after that, people would be walking either on the side of the road or on the road. Traffic, there's 3 speed humps fairly close together. So people really are slowing down here. Plus, it's more of a straightaway, and the sight line is really not an issue.
This is Commissioner Bassler, in the manner of removal anticipated?
I'm sorry, the manner of
removal of the plant material along the road?
Well, basically, when we're going to be putting down a gravel path, so Jim Boyd will be the contractor, and he'll be, basically removing that and placing the gravel. Same type of gravel we have down by the Fishway, as well as on the trail along North Chestnut Street. The tree itself will be done by Wachowski and Son.
This is
Jamie.
Commissioner Mursky. I'm sorry, Jamie.
Go for it, Mersky.
Thanks. I apologize if this is a silly question. Is this an extension of a previous application? Am I correct in thinking we approved an application of the same area or nearby? I'm actually, my memory might be off. I just wanted to make sure I have the facts correct, if you don't mind.
No, that's a good question. Was earlier this year we applied and was approved for a trail along North Chestnut Street on the opposite side of the pond. And that has been completed and is actually being fairly well utilized. But it's from the where the hand is right now, from that parking area up to where the the next 2 parking areas up. It's to that point. So again, it just gets people off the road. There are no speed humps there, but this has actually worked out quite well.
Okay, this is Commissioner Mursky. I'm glad to hear that. So it's a different section, which is what I thought it was. I just wanted to clarify that I wasn't losing my mind, I guess is what I was.
Same trail, same pond, just opposite side.
Thank you.
Jamie Frederick in the Wetland Agent. So I did prepare a memo for this application as well. And I did essentially copy the conditions of approval from that last application, given that they are very similar in nature and just on opposite sides of the pond, if you will, for the commission's review and consideration.
You want to post that, Jamie?
Sure.
This is Commissioner Mirsky. Before you go over this, can I ask one question of you, Jamie, if you don't mind? When you did a review of this application compared to the last one, recognizing there are two different sections, and there seems to be some similarities, do you have any unusual concerns that would not be the standard similar issues we typically would have addressed with the previous application? Or is that not a fair question?
That's a fair question. I don't have any unique concerns. I did walk the proposed trail location with Richard Shanahan. So I'm familiar with where they're looking to put the trail, and I did review the tree they're looking to remove. We discussed whether it would make sense to try and plant another tree in the area. Looking around the area, though, the canopy is pretty well established, and there's not really another spot to put a tree that wouldn't become problematic. So I did not make that recommendation. So essentially the possible conditions for consideration include a pre-construction meeting with IW staff that would extend to the contractor that's going to be doing the site work, since I've already met with Richard Shanahan. Gravel use shall be of proper size to reduce transport and shall be non-floatable in nature. Work shall be conducted during a dry period, and a final inspection shall be completed after work is completed. And then, as is the case with all permits, the standard conditions and general provisions of all permits would apply.
This is Commissioner Bassman, just a question, Jamie, the distance from the tree to the pond?
I mean, it's like right there.
So do we have any concern about how the tree would be removed?
The distance there, it's very tight. I think we're only talking about 4 or maybe 5 feet total from the road to the pond. And the tree takes up about 2.5 feet of that.
So the equipment to remove the tree would remain on the road?
Correct. Yeah, there should be no reason for them to go into the water, near the water, what have you.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern would be with the stump, getting it cut down flush enough to put the stone on top of it. But I think given that they are putting stone on top of it, it probably makes that process a little bit easier rather than trying to create a dirt path where that tree was. And I did actually, I did mention to Richard while we were out on the site, possibly using logs to kind of help hold any stone in place where there is a slight slope going down towards the pond. I don't know if the commission feels that is condition worthy, but I did just recall that and figured I would mention it in case you want to add that as a condition. For the most part, it's very gentle, but with dogs and kids and people using the trail.
This is Commissioner Bass. Yeah, I was more concerned about the removal activity as opposed to the post removal.
Yeah, I think
the manner in which we're going to remove that being so close to the pond.
I think the proximity to the road kind of helps buffer that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will have to close off the road, and they'll have a bucket truck and basically take it down limb by limb.
I assume they'd also chip on site?
I'm assuming so. Yes, that's when I've worked with them in the past. That's exactly what they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess, Jamie, you want to put that quick memo up? Any commissioner want to add to the possible conditions for consideration that we're seeing on the screen for Chestnut Street?
This is Commissioner Mursky. I was just unclear about, I know Jamie recommended the logs. It doesn't sound like it's absolutely necessary, but I'm just unclear if we're, as a commission, feel it's necessary or not. I understand you, Commissioner Basserman, weren't as concerned about it. I'm just wanted to clarify.
I don't recall off the top of my head, Jamie Frederick and the Wetland agent. Richard Shanahan, did you put anything in the narrative regarding that?
I did not. I mean, we could do so wherever it is deemed necessary. I think there may be, one or two relatively small sections where that could be an issue. So if that wanted to be put into the conditions, I don't think that would be an issue. Again, because I really don't think it would be that long of a distance.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland agent, I agree with that analysis. It was like 2 or 3 spots and it wasn't a long stretch.
Anybody want to take a crack at making a motion for BRIW 250804?
This is Commissioner Mursky, I'll make a motion and like you, Commissioner, do the best I can. In regards to application 25-08-04, an application to build a trail on Short Rocks Road, which will be connected to the trail network recently improved from the Fisher Ladder parking area all the way to the parking area on the western side of the pond below the Chestnut Street Bridge. That application will be approved with the following conditions: pre-construction meeting with the inland wetlands staff. Gravel used shall be of the proper size to reduce transport and shall be non-floatable in nature. Work shall be conducted during a dry period. Final inspection after work will be done after it's completed. And I apologize, Jamie, you'll have to help me with this a little bit. Logs will be placed in areas. I want to make sure I define the areas correctly as deemed appropriate. Those are areas of weakness, I believe, that are deemed appropriate in the 1 or 2 areas that have been previously discussed at this meeting.
To retain stone.
I apologize, I can't hear you. To retain the stone that's currently there. I believe that's all the conditions, unless I've missed anything. Is there a second on this motion?
I'd second that motion. This is Commissioner Basserman with the addition of the standard conditions and general provisions that apply to all permits. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, Commissioner Papantonis,
Commissioner Papantonis, aye.
Commissioner Mursky,
Commissioner Mursky, aye.
Commissioner Sotomayor,
This is Commissioner Sotomayor. Aye.
and Commissioner Basserman, aye. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
In the wetland 250804, 39 Prospect Hill Road, residential addition and new septic.
Good evening, Jim Preddy, Chris Kohler Engineering. Jamie, do you want to do your thing first?
If you want to jump in, I'm all down for a break.
Okay. I'm gonna just go right to sharing the screen. Hopefully you can see the map. This is the property, 39 Prospect Hill Road. It's kind of an interesting area to get to.
Sorry, I muted you instead of myself.
Okay, sorry. I don't know if you heard any of it. Anyway, this is 39 Prospect Hill Road. It's kind of a unique area to get to at the end of, this is actually a private road till you get to over here. It connects to Wallace Road. This house was originally built in 1932. This property was approved by this commission, I think it was back in 2009, to split the lot and construct another house. But that was a previous owner, and that approval has since lapsed. The existing gravel driveway that comes up to the house from the road, and the existing septic system is over here on the edge of what's kind of a sand and stone beach area. I guess back in the day they thought that was a good idea. There's a septic tank and a pump chamber and the force main over to this area. What we're proposing is the new owners that bought the house a couple of years ago would like to do an addition and a garage. This is the proposed plan that's been submitted, and now I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see. So again, this is the existing house. There's a small portion that'll be taken off, but there's this is an addition to the house. This is the garage, a detached garage, and I'll say detached garage only because that's how zoning looks at it. But it is connected by a roof, so they would have the ability to actually drive under here and come around, and the garage will have doors on both sides, so they'll be able to come around and drive in and out, or park under here and get in the house if it's raining without going in the garage. So the driveway will be moved over to accommodate that. One of the other goals to doing that was providing this area for septic. This property is a lot of rock, shallow rock, and in a large area here that's basically uphill of everything else. So we have this area here that will provide a new, code complying septic area. The old one will be abandoned. The old tank and pump chamber will be removed. We'll have a new gravity system, which because they have city water is a far better feature. If they lose power, they don't lose the ability to flush toilets. We have provided, standard silt fence in appropriate areas, stockpile area here. I did call out this is a gravel driveway, but I did call out to use the existing driveway area for an anti-tracking pad. I think during construction, they should probably add some stone, because the stone that's there is kind of fine. Let's see.
This Commissioner Bassman, and the wetland line is where, Jim? I
the
see up top, but
yeah, there's a pocket of inland wetlands here and another pocket here that kind of straddles property line. And then on the other side of the street, this was determined to be tidal wetlands by David Lord back when he did this. So the only thing that so we do have, because of this hill here, we do have some small grading. We do have a retaining wall along the side of the driveway to limit that, but there will need to be some grading here. And we were proposing to replace, and quite honestly, having this garage here and trees looming over it would not be, if I was the homeowner, I wouldn't want that anyway. So we are gonna have to remove some trees in this area and regrade, and we're proposing to reseed it with the conservation wildlife mix so that they don't have to, continuously mow it. It's like a twice a year kind of thing. We were asked by the town engineer to provide stormwater storage, and the only area that really makes any sense, given all the ledge and septic issues here, is down right here along the side of the driveway, where we were proposing to put in a dry well with an overflow and some galleries. I know Jamie had voiced a concern about removing, vegetation in this area for this. I was out there today. It does look like the vegetation is all I wouldn't say recent, but there's in this area there weren't any trees bigger than like 6 or 8 inches, so recent relatively, right? But after that, I did have a conversation with the town engineer, about the requirements for stormwater storage. And I know I've said this before at this commission. I don't understand why we collect all the roof drains instead of letting them go in separate locations around the house like we've done for many years. Spreading it out seems to be a much better function to me. So he was of the mind that, if this commission didn't feel that this was prudent, I think that satisfies the need for stormwater storage, and we can kind of go back to splash pads. That's I guess one of the caveats to the storage is if it doesn't make sense on residential lots, then there are ways around it.
Commissioner Bassman, is that storage area? It looks I don't know how long it is, but it looks relatively thin. Is that capable of handling the volumes that
Yes.
Are projected?
Yes. So I was asked to store the new roof area and this new driveway area here, and that's and we have somewhere on here calculations to that effect that he was okay with, but yeah, this would be a strip about 6 feet wide to get these galleries in, and we have a dry well at the end. If the commission was overly concerned with the vegetation in this area, and this is, I don't know, Jamie, if you were out there, this is kind of right at the base. There's some rock right here. This would be right in front between the rock and the wetlands. We did Bob Criscolo back in 2005, I think, goes we've been here a while. Had dug a test, but I think right around here, and they were able to get down about 7 feet. So I think they could get them in, but if we would go back to splash pads and just do the dry well for the driveway, if the commission was overly concerned with that amount of vegetation, right, the removal right there.
And just for clarification, or make sure I understand, that collects everything, driveway as well as the entire house, not just the addition, correct?
No, just the addition. And
just the addition.
Yes, the downspouts that are on the existing house that kind of go here and here will remain.
Oh, okay.
We're required to store the increase.
Would the stormwater from the garage and addition tie into the existing downspouts, or would they have their own downspouts? And I guess, particularly in regards to the garage portion, would it be going down the driveway, or would it be discharging the area?
So the driveway is going to be gravel, so only a percentage of it will run off, but it is you can see the contours are kind of pitched that way. It would, and we provided like a riprap leak off area, so we would be getting the driveway, and I had suggested a piping the new roof area to that dry well. We could, again, if this was a concern, we could leave the dry well, and so it would provide energy dissipation, and then just it would overflow into the vegetated area there. Do have a photograph, kind of hard to see, but let's see. Stop sharing for a moment. So this is a photograph. I'm standing in the driveway, so that dry well would be right kind of here, and the galleys would kind of go here. We could kind of see this is the edge of the rock, the bottom of the hill, so that those galleys would be kind of right in front of them here if we put them in. And the dry well would be more or less here. There's a little bit of a cleared area next to the driveway already.
And the alternative to the 6-footer is, would you say, individual splash pads?
We would try to do that everywhere we could. We could still direct some of this into that dry well. The dry well will take a certain amount of it, but then we'll have a grate on the top of the dry well so that it could overflow. Again, it would act as an energy dissipator, and we'll have riprap around it. So we would reduce the amount of roof that's going to it, so it's not overwhelmed. It would still pick up the driveway though.
And yet, to do that stormwater would have to travel a fair distance down that gravel driveway to get to the dry well, no?
The driveway already it does now. It already pitches down toward there already.
Yeah, but the addition with the spillways would dump to the driveway as well?
The addition, hold on.
Throw that sketch up again, if you would, sir.
Yeah. So the roof here in the driveway, if they don't, even if we don't do the storage, I would recommend putting at least this much of it, I would pipe down here, but the rest of it I would, let go where it has.
Okay.
So
there's a pipe from the addition to the driveway.
It would go here. Yeah, that part would be piped. Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's just a matter of how much we store, really.
Right. Okay. Is the only concern regarding the wetland is the one that's closest to that storage capacity? The other one we don't have any concern with because of the pitch?
Yeah, I mean that there's a driveway there now. There's a little bit of a green space, lawn and vegetation in between there. It doesn't really pitch that way. I think it pitches this way now.
Yeah,
it's pretty flat right here, to be honest with you. But this is all lawn now, and it will stay lawn. So the runoff from the roofs that come out of the splash pads now will kind of run along the lawn like it always has.
Mm-hmm.
And we are moving the driveway somewhat away here, I guess.
Any concern, Jamie, with the storage proposal here?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I see the logic to disconnecting, so to speak, part of the roof and letting it surface flow over lawn area. And it does look like there's a decent amount of vegetation there. So I think perhaps reducing the amount of storage and perhaps denoting that area to remain in a natural state would be strike a balance between stormwater management and maintaining a vegetated area. And also, I mean, those trees, I don't know what the balance between what they're gonna process as far as the water budget versus the infiltrators. So I'd hate to take away a natural function to put in a structure.
What Jim Preddy again, what we can do, because this area along the edge where the dry well is going is already lawn, we could actually put, now that I'm looking at this, we could put a second dry well, connect them, so we'll be somewhere in between the maximum storage and the minimum storage. We'll have, it'll be somewhere in between, and then we won't need to clear those trees out to put that gallery in.
Even better.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Just so commissioners can kind of get a feel for what the site currently looks like. And yes, on the western side of the site or the driveway, it is lawn at this point.
Peter, I was trying to remember when this was approved in 2009. Were you on this board then?
I don't believe so.
I think 2010.
Just
Just
missed it.
missed it.
Just missed it. I know nothing.
It was much more aggressive than this, I will say.
Jamie, the fact
I
that
was
this
here.
was, the fact that this was,
Who said that?
Katie Blanchett.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
this one was also received before the last meeting, so it's actionable this evening.
It is actionable if the commission so chooses. Unless you want to see that modification on a site plan prior to approving it.
Yeah.
Could make it a condition of approval, but I think that's kind of getting to the upper limits of given the proximity of the activity to the wetland, but I'll leave it up to the commission to decide.
But could we approve this with the condition that a revised site plan reflecting what we talked about this evening be approved by you guys and go forward here?
Like I said, I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think that if you wanted to, it would be okay. So let me just kind of try and codify it.
That's the,
This is the old
the right
plan. This is
There
the
you go.
revised plan, which I did not note in my staff report that it does in fact have show an anti-tracking pad. So instead of having the infiltrators, we would be looking to install a second,
right, just to the left of that one.
just to the left of this one. So like
Right
along the
there.
driveway.
Correct.
And then if there's space, possibly provide some plantings
Yeah,
between
we can add some shrubs behind it. Yeah, and
I mean,
extend.
we don't want to remove vegetation
a
to
little
put
bit.
in vegetation, but
Correct.
okay, so remove infiltrators, add a second gallery.
No, a second dry well.
Sorry, drywall. Yep.
Yeah.
Remove and then add. And then add plantings between stormwater management
And remaining vegetation,
and existing
existing vegetation. Yeah.
vegetation to be approved by duly authorized agent. So that would be an additional condition for consideration that I do not currently have in the staff report.
All the other conditions.
But I think that, you know, you've got the details. We've got the breakup of the stormwater over here. So I mean, it's pretty set what it is we're looking for. So I think that would be okay.
So do you have a this Commissioner Bassman, do you have a screenshot that captures what you just articulated?
I have shorthand notes that I just scribbled. Hopefully Katie was typing.
Not typing, but writing. So I got it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I did prepare a staff report for this. I didn't prepare it until today because we got revised plans yesterday and I realized it didn't end up in the Dropbox, but I did send it to the applicant this afternoon. So if we want to quickly run through this.
Perfect. Yep.
The references the report from 2009 that Mr. Purdy already went over. Adjacent municipality and RDA notices were not applicable. We already went over the subdivision history. There's silt fence proposed for sediment and erosion controls. There is an anti-tracking pad proposed, so disregard that sentence. Revised plans were submitted. Was there stormwater maintenance information included in the application materials that I missed? Or is it?
No, I need to add the note about cleaning out the dry well,
Okay, so maintenance for dry well,
which would be only once or
another
twice a year, really.
possible condition of approval. Landscaping, no landscaping is proposed. We talked about adding landscaping just now to the area between the dry wells and the existing vegetated areas. And we already went over the conservation wildlife mix. And we went over the stormwater management concern relative to existing vegetation. So in addition to maintenance for the dry well and a revised plan showing the 2 dry wells, removal of the infiltrators and planting plan, other possible conditions for consideration would include pre-construction meeting, initial erosion control inspection, stormwater drainage structure inspection, final inspection, and certification from a qualified PE or land surveyor that the grading and stormwater on site is consistent with approval. And the standard conditions and general provisions.
Well, I guess we do not have a document capturing the 3 addition conditions, correct? Other than Katie's written note that only she has.
If you want, I can try and quickly type something up that we can use as an amendment. 3 revised.
Or are we, you may have jumped the gun, are we better off taking the 2 weeks, preparing the staff report with all of the necessary words in the possible conditions and deal with it next week, 2 weeks? Is that a little easier for staff?
I think at that point we might even have a revised plan.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think it affects, because we're not scheduled to be on the 18th for zoning, so.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll look for that revised plan, and then rather than having it be for review by the agent, hopefully we can get it all wrapped up and moving forward at the September 25th meeting.
And I think this Commissioner Bassman, I think that's acceptable, Mr. Pretty.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay. Enforcement, cease and correct 250901, 15 Pinewood Road, clearing and encroachment into the wetland area. There's a new one. Okay. Jamie?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So we were notified that there was some work going on at the site. Katie reached out and started correspondence, met with the property owners on site, told them next steps is, start off with getting a wetland delineation. Wetland delineation was completed. They towed in the silt fence that was installed or that was placed on site so that it would function properly. I went out to check the silt fence and saw that some of the silt fence was within the wetland area. Luckily, parts of the area within the silt fence were undisturbed, so not really impacted. There was a small area that was impacted, so I've advised that they get a planting plan from the wetland scientist that did the delineation to address the impacted wetland area, and perhaps provide a bit of a buffer between what would be maintained as lawn versus the wetland area, and submit an application for any site plan changes, lawn establishment, clearing. It looks like there was some tree damage from a storm prior to the current property owner purchasing the property, and they were looking to clean that up. In addition to, it's my understanding there was trash and debris on site as well that they were getting off site. So they've been very responsive. They met with me as well out there, and we went over activities they're looking to do, and that those activities should be submitted to the commission in an application to conduct regulated activity. So I know they're working on that application. It takes time to coordinate with all the different professionals and departments and agencies. So they are here this evening to have a
Hi,
conversation with.
Jamie. How are you?
With yourself.
Hi, Katie. Hi, everyone.
So yes, to have a conversation about how to move forward with resolving this and moving forward with the improvements they want to make to their property. Just trying to pull up a couple of things for the file. So I'll start off by just showing the commissioners an aerial of the property for reference purposes. This is Pinewood Road in Pine Orchard zoning. It's at the end of Pinewood Road on the north end of the cul-de-sac, the site. This aerial image is from 2024, and then this is one from 2025, I believe, from April this year. So you can see that there has been some activity on site, but you can also see from the previous aerial, it's kind of hard to see, but that some of those trees were down. And then this is just a GIS map to give a little bit more context. The railroad tracks, Birch Road, Meadowwood, Pinewood, subject site. And this is kind of a large wetland complex that runs in north-south. At the end of the cul-de-sac. So we have received the wetland report. The wetland flags were out when I went out. And I am going to show you photos. I think these are from when Katie went out to the site initially. So you can see that there was some grading. I don't think there was like significant grade changes. I think it was mostly smoothing things out. There was a deck previously that they're looking to, I believe, reinstall and put a patio and small retaining wall, and also establish a parking spot on the side of the house. You can see the silt fence. It mostly follows where the wetland limits are. And then this is looking north away from the house. And then these are photos from when I went out to the site. So the pink flags are the wetland flags. The silt fence, like I said, mostly follows where the wetland flags were. There's just a small area that was impacted by some of the activities. Again, wetland flag, silt fence, wetland flag. And then here we're starting to get into the area where the silt fence kind of crosses with the wetlands. You can see a silt flag up here. Wetland flag. So it's not a huge amount of disturbance. It looks like this area was not regraded. There are some wood chips from the tree removal, but they should decompose. But I think that it's worthy of having the soil scientist assess a planting plan to help make sure this area restabilizes as is appropriate for a wetland area. And I took some pictures just to show, this one's of the wetland area, just to show that the main wetland area on the other side of the silt fence remains mostly undisturbed. I think this is remnant of some of the trash and debris that they were removing from the site. So I think the commission gets the idea. Unless you have any questions for me, well, I guess I'll quickly run through the cease and correct. So basically, I told them they've stopped work. I told them that they could remove the cut up sections of the tree that were in the center portion of the site. they have been in communication with us in regards to getting an application ready. And so tonight we're reviewing the activity, and the kind of action points are that an application needs to be submitted and a restoration plan will likely be required for the impacted wetland area. So unless the commission has any questions for me, I guess I would at this point hand it over to the property owner to present anything additional, or ask any questions that you have.
I guess if the commission doesn't have any questions, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Georgia Lundberg, and this is my partner, Alex Manzi. We're both Branford residents, and we bought this property at auction in the springtime, and we began preparing the lot for necessary improvements and trash removal back in April. So our intention was, and it continues to be, as we told Jamie and Katie, simply restoring damage done to the property after years of neglect. So not changing any of the water flow, soil erosion, or other wildlife that lives in the land. So it's our belief that besides removal of trees and trash, the lot, looks very similar to when we began prep. Photos taken before and after kind of reference our clearing of the plot, though the only act that I believe was affected to the topography of the land and our encroachment would be caused by heavy rainfall and other natural erosion like tree fall. Looking at the GIS map, I can tell that we only have swamp area on our property, which is something else that I noticed. But nevertheless, like Jamie said, we do have plans to regrade, replant, and otherwise help maintain and restore the land. We're actively speaking with planning and zoning for Pine Orchard. They finally responded to us. And we are working to create that replanting plan with the soil scientist. We're actively speaking with East Shore Health District as well. And one of the reasons why we bought this property is the proximity to the wetlands, the area in general. So we definitely want to make sure that we are creating an ecosystem that will thrive for years to come. We're not flipping this property. And we definitely would love your guidance and input on plans to, make it livable and, like I said, to have the ecosystem restored.
So,
This is Commissioner Basserman. Are you expecting to do this work this year?
Yeah. As soon as we get the necessary approvals from obviously all the departments. I've retained the soil scientist to work on the mitigation plan. She said she couldn't get it done for this meeting, so we'll probably have it ready for the next meeting. But yeah, we definitely intend on getting everything done as soon as possible. I stated this maybe to Jamie, but we're paying the mortgage on the house, so we obviously want to move in as soon as possible.
Commissioner Bassman again. Any interest in a landscape professional to figure out what species would work and where to plant? Or are you expecting the soil scientist to do that as well?
The soil science, yeah. So we plan, as soon as she gives me the plan, obviously the mitigation plan. I think she was gonna try and match up what's already there to obviously plant. I don't have a problem digging and putting that in. But if it's necessary and you guys want us to hire a landscape professional, then we can do that too.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent, just for the commission's knowledge, they are working with Soil Science and Environmental Services, Inc.
Yeah.
So in addition to having wetland scientists on staff, they also have Jennifer, who is a botanist and has done a lot of planting plans the commission has reviewed in the past.
Great. Okay. You're saying very little grading needs to be done at this point?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I'd say that the grading on site seems to be consistent with what it likely was before. And I think that there's been some stabilization since the activity was done this past spring. And like I said, they do have the silt fence up and know that it needs to stay in place until they get everything stabilized. I did have a conversation with the property owner about if they want to do additional regrading, then we might have to look at where that silt fence is to make sure it's appropriate relative to the additional grading. Given that there are unimpacted areas within the silt fence, we don't want those areas to become impacted with additional activity. So I think,
Jamie, any changes to how the storm management would be handled under, going forward?
not that I could tell without having been on site previously. I mean, there were some trees removed, but like I said, I think some of them were down already. So they would have been functioning in a different capacity as far as stormwater management.
Hopefully, next meeting, 25th, is it? We'll get a plan and can review it at that point. At this point, I guess the cease and correct remains in place. No modification to the cease and correct, I guess, at this point. Is that correct?
That would be consistent with past practice, correct? So before we continue this item, I have 2 points of clarification I'd like to establish, and then also just see if the property owner has any further questions for the commission. So there's 2 things that we're kind of looking for. One is the planting plan to restore the impacted wetland area, and the second one is an application to address activities that have occurred, but logistically wise, also potentially activities that you may want to conduct in the near future. So that way you don't have to submit 2 separate applications. You indicated that you might be able to have that planting plan available for the September 25th meeting. Do you think it's likely that you'll be able to have an application for the September 25th meeting as well? Or are you going to need additional time to get a site plan and things like that? I'm not sure where you are with septic requirements, which probably would be the most involved.
Yep. So East Shores were requiring us to get a inspection of the leaching fields. So we intend to have Whitfield do that. Whitfield sanitation. Whitfield sanitation. And we'll have the application done. We'll have everything by the next meeting.
Okay. So worst case scenario, if you do have to replace the septic, that could come back as a separate application. But that you can start moving forward with other things. I think that that's very reasonable. So do you have any questions for the commission for preparing for next meeting?
Do you?
No, I don't at this time. Don't be surprised if I ask you a question via email, Jamie, but right now, no.
Absolutely. All right.
A lot on your plate.
Yeah.
We don't need a vote to continue this, correct?
No, you can just continue to.
We continue it to the September 25th next regular meeting of the commission. Item 6, some jurisdictional ruling requests. Jurisdictional ruling 250901, Louisa Court, removal of some phragmites.
All right. Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent, bear with me while I pull things up. We do have the requestee present. So Louisa Court may sound familiar to some of you that have been on the commission. It's part of a subdivision that was built out not too long ago. Louisa Court is 10-lot development with some shared common property, including conservation restriction area. And the request ultimately is to try and manage some phragmites that's starting to pop up in the edge of that conservation area before it has the ability to get a foothold and become a bigger problem. So we got We've got Lamatra Lane, which ties into Gould Lane, and Louisa Court is off of Lamatra. This yellow highlight indicates the conservation restriction area. The red highlight indicates the stand of Phragmites that they're looking to manage through cutting. And a picture has been provided of said frag. A little brief summary was provided. They're not planning to use any chemicals. They're planning to routinely cut it and dispose of the material at the transfer station. I don't have anything else to add unless commissioners have questions, but I'll hand it over to Mr. McKay if he wants to add anything, clarify anything, introduce himself.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. I am relatively new to Branford. I moved to Branford 2 years ago after retiring 5 years ago in 2020. My wife and I moved here to be closer to family. We purchased a home on Louisa Court. The area of Phragmites is pretty much very close to our back yard, so I get to look at this all the time. Shortly after moving to Branford, I joined the Branford Land Trust maintenance crew. We maintain the trails. We have about 30 miles of trails in the town. And I have been working on the maintenance crew for the past 2 years with them. Last year, I just completed a course at UConn for a Master Woodland Manager designation, along with 3 other members of the maintenance crew. But I have learned a great deal about conservation, forestry over the past year, and much of our work on the maintenance crew is management of invasives. And lo and behold, as I look out my back window, I see a patch of invasives in this wetland. The wetland is actually owned by the HOA, which is part of this development. It's an HOA. So I have obtained authorization from the president of the HOA to go about managing this patch of Phragmites, and I'm now looking to the commission to also provide authorization for that process. No chemicals will be used. Simply going to go there and cut it down, bring it to the transfer station, and do this on a regular schedule, a yearly basis. I'm told by the manager of our crew, Matt Reed, that he would expect over the course of 3 to 5 years that I could completely eradicate this without chemicals simply by just cutting it down. And I'm looking for that authorization from the commission. Thank you.
Thank God you're retired.
Pardon me?
Thank God you're retired.
Thank God I'm retired. Yes. Well, I love being outside. I love going on the trails. I did 2 jobs today for the land trust, so I keep myself busy.
Yeah. And this is our permitted, non-permit required, right, Jamie? What we're looking at? You're muted, Jamie.
Sorry, thank you. Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So this is a jurisdictional ruling request in relation to 4.2A, conservation of soil, vegetation, water, fish, shellfish, and wildlife. generally speaking, management of invasives where there's no ground disturbance, or alteration to that area other than the removal of the invasives has been considered as of right by the commission. So I do think it would be appropriate to grant the request.
I think this is, we've seen this before, and I think it's been as of right previously. I see no reason to differ from precedent here. Pretty straightforward. Does this require a vote, Jamie?
I think a motion would be appropriate.
All right, I'll make a motion that jurisdictional ruling 250901, Louisa Court, the removal of Phragmites, be a as of right in accordance with 4.2 of the Town of Branford regulations or inland wetlands and watercourses. And it's expected that this would be an activity that would take 3 to 5 years for the removal of the invasives. Is there a second?
It's Commissioner Papantonis, second.
Any disagreement? Any further discussion? I guess we need a vote. Commissioner Papantonis?
Commissioner Papantonis, aye.
Commissioner Sotomayor?
This is Commissioner Sotomayor. Aye.
Commissioner Mirsky?
Commissioner Mirsky, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Make sure you get some rest. You got a lot of activity going on there.
Yes, I do. One question, please. Is this authorization for a period of 5 years? So if I go longer than that, I should return back to the committee to...
No.
No.
This is not a permit. I put that in there because the expectation is it's not a one-time shot. But it's a jurisdictional ruling. You have to have as a right to remove it.
Okay, very good. I appreciate this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Jurisdictional ruling 250902, 71 Midwood, placement of wood chips in an area recently managed for knotweed as an erosion and sedimentation control measure in and adjacent to the wetlands. How about an update on this, Jamie?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. Can't remember who was present, but this may sound familiar to some commissioners. Recently, there was a jurisdictional ruling request to manage knotweed in and adjacent to a wetland. Now there is a request to place 2 to 4 inches of untreated wood chips as an erosion control measure in the area. I will screen share the request. More specifically, I will kind of jump down to some of the pictures and maps. This is, I think, kind of a general reference picture and area where the knotweed was removed, looking in both directions. And then a map showing on site the wetland area and the area, I believe, where the wood chips are being proposed. I'll let the requestee clarify in regards to the red and the purple, and kind of the full extent of the areas that she's looking to put the wood chips. She initially submitted a jurisdictional ruling, or sorry, a sign-off request. As there's activity in the wetland, I cannot review this administratively. It has to go before the commission. So I think, without rambling any longer, I will hand it over to Esposito to clarify and fill in with whatever information she thinks would be helpful for the commission.
Great.
Okay, thank you. So Lorraine Esposito. This is just the area that I removed the knotweed in, and I just took the knotweed out, but it was so thick that by taking it out, the ground is bare, and it is subject to runoff from adjacent properties, and I don't want to see it wash away, and it will help to control the regrowth a little bit. It just so happened that I have a large tree in my front yard that will be taken down by Eversource, and they're going to grind up all those wood chips. And I thought it was a perfect fit to put those wood chips perhaps in that area and stabilize the soil temporarily while I work on the replanting plan that we talked about in the last meeting. And
Well,
one other thing is the map that she showed. The red line denotes the area. There you go. The red line is kind of the wetland area that the removal left bare. And then the purple line relates to that first image that was shown that looked like it was just a general image. Great. Up past that big boulder next to the tree and the cliff, that area is also doesn't have a lot of vegetation, and water runoff coming down from those cliffs tends to erode the soil. So it would be, I do put wood chips in the path and the trail that's there, but I had not expanded that to the bare spots next to the cliff, and I would like to do that. And that's not in wetlands. That's that's the buffer zone. So that would be the purple area on, yeah, right there.
Looks like it's 30 to 40 feet away from the wetland.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. This is Commissioner Bassman. Jamie, you've been on site or not?
I have not been on site recently. I don't have concerns. I see the intent behind wanting to place the wood chips. I don't think that the wood chips in this location will, at the base of the bedrock or the ledge will have an impact on the wetland. My only hesitancy in this location would be floatability. Does this area flood often?
It doesn't flood, but when it rains, so relative to the picture, the red little like snow stick is so in the area that would be off out of the picture toward us looking at it, upland, there where my dog is, right? Coming down that path, which is not in the wetlands, that's not wetland. The water does rush through there in a heavy rain.
You can see the trough.
Right. So it would be great to have sediment control, erosion control, so that the water doesn't keep going. And if you see to the left of the stick, there's a deep, like a gully there. It would be nice to just stabilize that so it doesn't pond. And you can see in the ditch, there's an awful lot has already gone in there. So it would be good to just sort of stabilize everything, and those rocks that are there would prevent the wood chips from finding their way into the gully. It isn't absolutely necessary. It's just, I thought, perfect timing because I'll have a lot of wood chips.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So my feedback for the commission to consider is, I mean, the area does look bare. It does look like it would benefit from having some sort of ground stabilization. Like I mentioned, I do have a little bit of concern about floatability, but it looks like that this might be the area of higher concern relative to over here based on review of the images and the information just provided by the property owner.
Commissioner Bassman, Jamie, would the installation of some ground cover with the wood chips help to
I think
some of the concern about the movability?
I think the property owner is looking to consider a planting plan in the future. So I think my two thoughts are one, depth of the wood chips, just making sure it's not too thick that it's going to be hindering future ability to plant, and two, again, that floatability, which I don't think is necessarily a reason to not do it, but I think should be considered and monitored. And maybe it's that some staked hay bales are installed in locations where migration of wood chips
could
occur, just to make sure that the wood chips don't end up in the wetland and primary water channel.
So I have one other comment to say. The actual wetlands are on the inside of the stakes. So they are rocks and in versus rocks to the fence. So a big portion of this is not technically wetland, but it does become wetland. Maybe you could go to another picture and I can help you understand where the wetland actually begins. Okay, so we're still not technically in wetland, but the closest stake, the delineation marker, if you came sort of back toward yourself looking at it and to the fence, that's where wetland actually begins. So this stretch that we're looking at is not technically wetland. It's upland and it's close enough. But there's a small section actually that is technically wetland that I would put wood chips in.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Jamie, can you put 4.2 up again?
Yeah. So just for before I do that real quick, basically it's the bare soil areas above the stone where you're looking to put the wood chips, correct? Okay.
Yeah, mostly it's yes, but I do want to go to the stone from that marker, towards the back. But that marker, it's hard for me to do. I wish I had your little thing that I could point to. It's hard to say. So that marker, if we're all looking at it from the same way, if you're sitting straight in front of the screen, straight back to you and to the fence is the diagonal line that delineates wetland from buffer zone. So it's only the little section to the left of that diagonal line that would be technically wetland, but it's all impacted by the water that runs off from the shed and the composty thing that's up there. It all just runs down behind that shed and comes in. So it all is impacted, but technically wetlands are not the majority of the property. That's really easy to understand. Sorry about
that. Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. No, I think that was helpful information. Okay, so 4.2 you said?
Yeah.
So I think this would again fall under 4.2A, conservation of soil, vegetation, water, shellfish, and wildlife.
Is conservation a defined term?
No, I don't believe so. Not in our regulations. I mean, of course it is.
That's as long as it's not in our regulation.
Let's double check though. We've got it here.
No.
So, my only concern would be making sure that it doesn't become filling, and I'm not concerned about, the placement of natural wood chips per se in this location, as long as the commission is in agreement. In a 2 to 4 inch layer, I think that will decompose and perhaps provide some benefits to the future planting of the area. My only concern again is any migration of that into the watercourse portion of the wetland complex and making sure that doesn't hinder flows and or fill other parts of the wetland unintendedly, which I think is very easy to avoid. I would just want to make sure that the property owner was aware and considering that. Looks like the property owner has a comment or question.
Sorry. Yeah, thank God for cameras. It's Lorraine Esposito. If I should make it less than 2, I will. Tell me how thick you would be more comfortable with, and I will put less there. So I just put 2 to 4 because that's what all of the literature recommended, but I'll put less.
Yeah, but you don't know the size of the chip at this point either.
That's a very good point. You're absolutely right. I don't know. You're right. I know.
I'm okay with 2 to 4. I mean, I think the economics are going to be what they are. Hopefully you got more chips than you know what to do with.
Oh my God. by tree, it's the biggest tree in Short Beach. It is huge. I have plenty. Anybody wants wood chips? 71 midwood. Gotcha. And firewood.
Is this, somebody want to make a motion for jurisdictional ruling on 250902? I'll make a motion for 250902, 71 Midwood, the application placement of wood chips in an area which is going to be applied as a result of the removal of invasive species in the area denoted. Oh, there is no, how do I denote this screenshot, Jamie?
Page 8 of the request.
Page 8 of the request to mitigate stormwater. Yeah, that's the end. Is there a second?
Commissioner Papantonis, second.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. Oh, this is an as of right. I don't think I put that in the motion. This is an as of right for 250902. Commissioner Papantonis?
Friendly amendment.
Yes.
Still second.
Okay. Commissioner Sotomayor?
This is Commissioner Sotomayor. Aye.
And Commissioner Mirsky?
Commissioner Mirsky, aye.
Okay. By the way, when is that tree coming down? Do you know?
This is Lorraine Esposito. Ooh, I got Lucas Tree coming within the next week or two. That's the best I got.
Gotcha.
Do you want me to update you when that happens?
You're right.
I was going to say, perhaps you're looking for some wood chips.
Not so much.
Okay. Darn it. Thank you very much.
You got it. Nothing on 7. Number 8, other business. Application for review and approval per regulation 7.1. Paper applications form the regulated activity. This whole area, I think, is yours to talk about, Jamie.
Yes, how lucky. Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So as we kind of discussed at the last meeting, we are looking to, as a town, implement an online permitting software. So as part of that, we've been entering all of the permits into the permitting software. And of course, there's minor tweaks to make it fit the system, but also perhaps to look at where we might be able to slightly improve things. So I presented everything last time, and I said I would send everything out so that way people could look at it, and hopefully we'd be able to kind of truncate the conversation to questions, comments, concerns. And I just want to point out that per section 7.1 of the regulations, it does state any new application forms or modifications to existing application forms will be voted upon by the agency for adoption. So I know we only have 4 commissioners present, but if everyone's comfortable, we can go forward, or as a quorum, of course. So I haven't received any comments from commissioners or questions, so I'm assuming that it was pretty straightforward, especially since the bulk of it is just copying in our applications into the system. I did today update the Dropbox to include the existing application forms because I realized I had omitted that previously. So just to recap, the application for regulated activity, the jurisdictional ruling request, and the municipal application are all existing applications. And this is just us putting them into the system so that we can better track and monitor not only the review of applications, but also compliance with applications. And also so that people can submit their applications online if they so choose.
Question I had is this still be determined as a flash cut?
A flash cut. You mean?
Are we going to do 100% electronic applications as of a certain date, or do we feather this in over some time period?
So we're going to have both application forms available to the public. We're not going to make the public submit an application online. I don't think that that's fair or reasonable. However, as far as the commission goes, it's going to look like a flash cut because we're going to be entering every paper application into the system for tracking purposes. And that's where we're going to be doing all of our file management. So the application form, the site plan, narrative, calculations, all of that, instead of using the Dropbox, we'll be using the system. So that way we don't have to manage two separate locations of data since it will be available publicly. And we will link directly to each app, or at least the intent is to link directly to each application on the agenda. So that way you don't have to find it. You can just click it right from the agenda.
This is
and flash cut in that when we do that, we will not be using the Dropbox.
For the most part, we will still use the Dropbox for things like this that do not fall within an actual application.
Okay.
But that will be it.
Somebody else had a question. Commissioner Mirsky?
Yes, my apologies. Yeah, I did. Once this becomes electronic, do the applicants have the same ability? I assume they do, to attach whatever files they want or to add addendums. But unlike paper applications, is the system set up to not restrict character limits or word limits? I assume that it is not, but I'm just wondering because they have unlimited access now to type up whatever they want or to present to the commission whatever they want. I'm just wondering, sometimes electronic systems place restrictions, and I'm just wondering if that's a factor or not.
Yeah, Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. It is to an extent. So the form fields some of them have restrictions in the number of characters, and part of that is for reporting abilities. I think to some extent that exists with the paper form too, though, because there's only so much you can fit on the lines that we provide. So I think, if anything, it's probably a slight improvement over what you can fit on the paper form. You can attach documents. The applicants can email documents as well if, for whatever reason they can't upload something, or maybe they have, a landscape architect working on their project as well, but they're not part of the application. They still have ways, and they can still submit paper as well. So there will be all the ways that exist now to submit materials, but also through the system.
Okay, and it's just for
go ahead.
Sorry, one more question. I apologize. Just for the commissioner's usage purposes, I'm just envisioning a potential issue, but it may not be an issue. Do we have to, as commissioners, when we're accessing these applications, have to be cognizant of the kind of computer we use or the browser we use? I'm just envisioning like weird issues. I don't know that matters, but it could.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. I think the preferred platform is Chrome, but it does work. It's worked on various browsers that I have used. I haven't had any issues. I do think you're going to want to access it from a computer and or tablet. I don't think that it's going to be overly friendly to a mobile phone. Yeah, and you don't have to create an account as a commissioner to view the applications. You can if you want to, but there's no need to have an account. You only need an account if you're submitting an application.
Okay, thank you.
We're still looking to do this, mid to late September.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We're still looking to. Yes, that would be the answer. I think mid September, given that it's the 11th, is not going to happen. But yes,
you need a vote from this commission and move forward here.
Well, we need a vote before we can make the applications available to the public. We could start implementing the system. It would be nice to have everything codified before we port everything over, because then everything will line up. But yeah, if we can get it reviewed tonight, that would be ideal. If we have to wait until September 25th, if there's red flags, that's a possibility. I do want to just mention real quick, there isn't a public hearing for this, but I did receive public comment in regards to specifically the municipal application form. And I just want to reiterate that that is an existing form and we're just looking to put it into the system. So we're not creating that. It's not meant to be any sort of special privilege. We require the first selectman sign the application as the owner authorization, because our regulations do require owner authorization for all applications. Town projects are subject to the same regulations that all other applications are subject to.
Well, if everyone's comfortable with what we've seen so far and the fact that really there have been no comments received that would suggest that there's issues, I just assume move on this evening. Lord knows what the agenda is going to look like for the 25th. Anybody feel uncomfortable? Uncomfortable in voting on this evening? Okay, we'll take a vote to, I guess, approve the application process using the OpenGov system for regulated activities, jurisdictional ruling requests, subdivision, re-subdivision referral, and regulated activity for municipal projects. End of message. Anybody want to add anything to that? Friendly amendments accepted.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent, does that include updating the paper application to make reference to the online application options and also update the check boxes regarding regulated activities to eliminate confusion as discussed at the previous meeting?
I didn't say that, but I'll take that as a friendly amendment. Any other comments from the commission? Commissioner Papatonis.
Commissioner Papatonis, aye.
Commissioner Sotomayor.
Commissioner Sotomayor, aye.
Commissioner Mirsky.
Commissioner Mirsky, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay.
Inland Wetland Associate Katie Blanchett, who seconded that? I didn't hear who the second was.
I'm not sure there was one, now that you raised that question, Katie. Thank you.
That's okay. This is Commissioner Papatonis. I'll second.
Look at that. You're on roll tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Commissioner Papatonis. All right, Inland Wetland 24-1001, Island View Village drainage repair. This is a request for the release of the bonds, sediment, and erosion controls associated with the drainage repair. Jamie, this is something that's been completed and they're looking to release the bond?
Correct. Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. Site work has been completed. I had a final inspection recently with the contractor, engineer, and management company. Here's some photos from the site visit. You can see that the flat area where the pipe replacement ties into is very well vegetated. The slope is not 100% vegetated, but it does have this permanent.
We're not seeing it.
Oh, sorry. It's that time of night. Wrong screen share. Okay. So right below, this is the silt fence. Right below this is the head wall going down to the water course that was subject matter to jurisdiction. Vegetation has come in really well at the bottom of the slope. So the slope is coming in really well. And this permanent slope stabilization mat, I don't have any concerns regarding any erosion. There has been some recent disturbance post their project on the upper slope due to other utility work. I don't see this having any impact to the water course area, and they're actively watering it.
Commissioner Bassman, when was this done, Jamie? When was this finished?
This work was started in the late spring, early summer, and they finished it, I want to say about a month ago. However, they were waiting for the vegetation to establish before scheduling the final inspection and requesting the release of the bond. So at this point, the only phase of the project that's left is to monitor the area and manage it for invasive species. There was no bond associated with that activity. The bond was fully associated with the erosion control measures. So I am recommending full release of the $18,000 bond contingent upon confirmation that the silt fence has been removed, because I did say that it should be removed and I don't believe I've gotten that confirmation yet. And I just wanted to point out, they mentioned that they're working with suburban consultants to ensure the monitoring and management of the invasive species. And they specifically mentioned Edward Golinski,
Wilanowski.
Thank you. Would be work on the job, and I looked him up, and he is a licensed arborist in addition to having a background in botany. So he does seem like he would be a good fit for that work. So if the commission agrees, I would need a motion approving the release of the bond. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to try and answer them.
This is Commissioner Basso. I'm surprised that the vegetation, given the lack of rain, took as well as it did.
I think they benefited from having some shade on that slope, and it is the upper portion that has more sunlight that's struggling.
Right. This is ripe for a motion.
I'll try it. Commissioner Papantonis, regarding Inland Wetlands 24-1001, given that all of the work has been completed, pending verification that the silt fence has been removed, I move that the full bond of $18,000 be returned and be released. Anything else I need to say?
No? Is there a second on that motion?
Commissioner Murski, second the motion.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Sotomayor.
This was Commissioner Sotomayor. Aye.
Commissioner Murski.
Commissioner Murski, aye.
Commissioner Papantonis.
Commissioner Papantonis, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay, we have another request for release of bond, Inland Wetland 2012-01, 8 Sawmill Road, new home construction, again, sediment and erosion control release.
All right, Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. On this one, I'm recommending a partial release because we had a bond that covered sediment and erosion control measures, but also that covered planting and monitoring. And the planting and monitoring bond is retained until the monitoring is completed. So planting has occurred. However, monitoring for 5 years has not. So the site work was completed this summer, and the plantings, like I said, have been installed. So I am recommending release of the erosion control portion, but also there was a bond that covered installation of conservation signs. And those have been installed and are picked up on the as-built survey that I received upon completion of the project. So I'm recommending release of that portion of the bond as well. So I'm recommending that.
This Commissioner Bassett, were there sediment and erosion control removed?
I'm actually not 100% sure on that. That's a very good point. So I would recommend, even though I don't have it in my staff report for consistency, that if you are in agreement, that I confirm that prior to releasing.
IW Associates.
Actually, you know what? I think they have been.
Yeah, when he came in to drop off the request, I did ask him if the erosion controls have been removed, and he indicated that they had been. So.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a wood chip berm along where the silt fence was, but they left that. But I don't have an issue with that because it should decompose and help just provide some additional stabilization. I had forgotten that was the case the last time I went out there. It has been a while. We were waiting on a written request for the release.
This is Commissioner Mursky. Jamie, do you mind? I apologize. I realize I might be tired. There sounds like there's three bonds, right? Or did I misunderstand
There's
that?
one bond. It covers kind of three categories of things. So, if you give me a minute, I will pull up the bond and show it to everyone real quick. Now that I've danced all over the place.
Trying to figure out which ones have been satisfied. I thought I got a little confused, is what I was trying to suggest.
All right, Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So here's the itemized bond estimate. Ignore the 434 East Main Street at the top. That's a typo. So anti-tracking pad and silt fence are the erosion control measures. I'm recommending release of those two items. I am also recommending the release of the signage. Maybe this isn't the updated one because it's not showing anything. And then I'm recommending that the shrubs and the inspections be retained because that activity has not been completed. And then there's a 10% contingency. And what I did was I weighted that against the items I'm proposing to be released and to release that 10%, that associated 10% contingency. So essentially, I'm recommending the release of $4,797.60 for the erosion controls, conservation science, and related 10% contingency, and retaining the $3,344 for planting and monitoring until the monitoring requirements have been satisfied.
So you had mentioned, this Commissioner Bassman, you mentioned three. There's erosion controls, signage, and the other one, oh, the monitoring. Yeah, okay.
And I'll just quickly show you the as-built survey with the conservation placards denoted.
Mm-hmm.
And then the green dots are the plantings. Oops.
We need a motion on 8 Sawmill Road.
This is Commissioner Mursky. I can attempt to make a motion. As to petition 20-1-12-01, a request for release of bond at 8 Sawmill Road. The commission requests that a partial bond be released as follows. The release of $4,797.60 of the bond on record based on permit compliance to date, which includes erosion controls, conservation signs, and related 10% contingency. The remaining bond of $3,344 shall remain in place until monitoring of plantings has been completed and submitted for a period of 5 years with successful and satisfactory documentation within the terms of the permit.
Commissioner Papantonis, second.
Further discussion? Any friendly amendments? All right, Commissioner Mursky.
Commissioner Mursky, aye.
Commissioner Papantonis.
Commissioner Papantonis, aye.
Commissioner Sotomayor.
Commissioner Sotomayor, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay, we have agent approval. Nothing there, Jamie, of note?
I approved an application to improve the existing trail at Young's Pond. Essentially, it's a muddy slope, and they were looking to make it a safer path to traverse. And I figured that was something I could review administratively.
Okay. Correspondence and announcements, 71 Midwood Road. We have some correspondence. Jamie, I turn that to you.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. I've listed this here to acknowledge the fact that we've received correspondence and to see next steps with the commission. Would you like to schedule review of this matter at the September 25th meeting? I think we've continued 2 items to that meeting, but but that appears to be it so far. And this has been kind of ongoing.
Yeah, I think that's our next regularly scheduled meeting,
It is.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have issue with that? Okay, are there any other announcements this evening? No?
I
Okay,
think we might have one.
that's what I thought, but
Are you gonna say Katie or should I?
Okay. I guess I can let you all know that this is going to be my last meeting. I have resigned. I came back into this role. For those that don't know, I was in this role previously for 5 years, and then I left to raise my children. And now that they're older and back in school, I came back to work full time. However, it's not really conducive. My husband has to work nights, and anyways, so I am going to be going back to school, literally and figuratively. I will be working at Adams Middle School while I work on getting my teaching certification. So this is my last meeting, and my last day at the office is next Friday, the 19th. So I've loved working with all of you, and I appreciate you for taking me back after a long hiatus. And I don't think this will be the end of me. I think you'll still see me around. So thank you very much.
that's great. I'm glad you've got a path laid out for you. Just a question, how long is that teaching experience?
So the training is only 9 months because I already have my bachelor's degree. So it's just getting the teaching components, and a lot of it is practical work. So actually teaching in the classroom. So
In the classroom.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
And
you for
hanging in
having
there.
me.
And hanging
Thank
in
you.
there in the
Congratulations,
evenings,
Katie.
as we all do. Appreciate that announcement. Any other announcements, folks? Nobody else retiring or leaving or anything like that? Thank God. Welcome again, Mr. Sotomayor. Thank you for joining. Good night, guys.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.